Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is Paul, your hip hop relationship and recovery coach, and I'm bringing to you another Kick Your Butt Out episode. As usual, y'all, before I go off into the content of the day, I have to say what I always say, and I strongly encourage you, as usual, again, to get this in here in your thought processes so that you can incorporate this into your lives. And that is, if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. And that, my friends, is a promise. All right. So let's get off into what God gave me to talk about today. And speaking of God, right? Listen, you all, God is so good. I'm so grateful for God. And I just want to say, you better watch out for God, because one of the things about God, he'll sneak up on you, right, and answer that prayer that you've been praying for, whether it was you started praying today, yesterday, or 20 years ago. God will sneak up and answer that thing when you least expect it. And the thing about it is that you'll know that it was him. So anyway, the reason why I said that is because every last one of these episodes that Kick Your Butt Out that I do, I always make sure that I ask God, what is it that you want me to talk about, or you want to say to us? Let me put it like that you want to say to us this week and Kick Your Butt Out. And so again, I'm always consulting with God about it. And so this week, this is what as usual, that's what I was doing over the beginning of the week. Hey, God, what is it that you want me to talk about or want to say to us this week? And so, again, I'm waiting to hear his voice, and I'm waiting to hear his voice, and I'm waiting to hear his voice. And the amazing thing happened on Halloween. I had my phone in my hand, and, I'm a follower of YouTube. And the crazy part about it is that I had no intention around doing what it is that I had done, right? And so here's what happened. I had my phone in my hand, and I was preparing for something else, and one of the YouTube feeds had come up on my phone, right? And in that thumbnail on the YouTube feed, I saw CJ and not Eric Thomas. I saw CJ, Jeremy Anderson, and this one other young lady that's attached to Eric Thomas's, his community, or, his businesses and all of those things. Again, forgive me for forgetting her name. However, I know that she's a powerful influence, a powerful force when it comes to motivational speaking, business, motherhood, womanhood, wifehood, you name it. This woman is very powerful. And again, forgive me for forgetting her name. But the thing that I want to get to is that I had run across a thumbnail of a podcast that they were about to do on Eric Thomas's Secret to Success podcast. And so again, I had no intentionality around listening to this podcast, but I clicked on it, right? And the good thing about it, it was going live. And so when I clicked on it, CJ and Jeremy Anderson were in a conversation about CJ's past and not and the things that he is doing to make sure that he don't go back to his past. And one of the things that he had mentioned, he had mentioned a 2-word phrase, and the 2-word phrase was small compromises. And with that, I was inspired to title today's episode of Kick Your Butt Out, But You Compromise. So when he talked about small compromises, here is what came to my spirit. God said that it's not the big compromises that harms us as much as it is the small ones. And the reason for that is that the small compromises that we indulge in we think they harmless. Oh, it won't harm me to do this. It won't harm me to do that. And it's totally the opposite. Because I've always said like this, in my practice, and when I'm talking to different clients, or doing some motivation or whatever I'm doing, I always put it like this: if you put a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny, and you keep on doing that thing, eventually you can end up with $10 million. It may take a while, right? But those small things can put you in a place, in a position where you can end up with $10 million or whatever number you want, right? And that's the same thing with the small compromises, or the harmless compromises that we are making. Those small compromises are putting us in places and positions where something big ends up happening because of these small compromises that we thought were harmless. Now, many of us, if not all of us, in this world, we want better, right? Many of us want better relationships with God. Wonderful. Better relationships with our spouses, better relationships with ourselves, better relationships with our profession or our calling or our ministries or the greatness that's in us or the potential we want better in a lot of those areas in our lives. Again, like I said, that's a good thing. But what happens, one of the reasons why we don't get to them, or it takes us more time than necessary to get to them, is because of some of the the small compromises that we think are harmless that we indulge in. T.D. Jakes said it like this. He says, the way you do some things is the way you'll do all things. And I appreciated him saying that, and I kept that quote because it's so significant from a standpoint of, again, the small compromises or the things that we do that we think is harmless are the things that's causing us the most harm. And let me prove it to you. So just say, for instance, you have a day, a time of the day on a daily basis, right? That you spend with God, whether you get up and you do a devotional and you pray and you read the word and you listen to some spiritual music or whatever the case may be. You have a daily routine that this is what you do to get your day started. And more often than not, the reason why that's a good thing is because it sets a strong and solid foundation for you for the course of the rest of the day. Because in that day, right, there may be some challenges that you face, and you'll be able to respond more than react, because you have indulged or did what you do from a spiritual standpoint to get your day started. It's a wonderful thing. One of the things that I practice, right? And so the small compromises come when you say, okay, I woke up today, not me personally, but we have done this. I've done it, just not today, right? I've done it many times in my life before. So you wake up at your normal time and you're supposed to get going in your spiritual foundation for the day. You're setting your spiritual foundation, and you wake up and you say, you know what? I've been doing well. I'll do it tomorrow. And you go back to sleep or do whatever it is that you're going to do. I'll do it tomorrow. And what happens more often than not is when we say that and tomorrow ends up coming. I'm not even going to talk about something that hits you during the course of that day yet. But what happens is that tomorrow comes, and because we have made that small compromise, tomorrow will come and then we'll do it again. and then we'll do it again and again and again. And the thing that happens is when I made that small compromise, what y'all thought was harmless, when I made that small compromise in that day, I'll be faced with an obstacle that day, whether big or small, and I'll react to it rather than respond because I didn't do what I normally do during that day to get me spiritually sound and spiritually grounded for the day that I was going to handle in that 24-hour period. And that's one of the things that happens with us. We'll compromise, right? The important or the helpful for something that's not helpful, and then something to come sneak up on us and hit us, and we fall short because of the fact that we've been making these small compromises. In my own life, right? In my own life, when I first started my journey for healing and recovery, there were certain places. I was living in Minneapolis, well, not Minneapolis. I was living in Minnesota, in Burnsville to be exact. But I knew, right, that there were certain people that I could not be around no matter what, because in my past, when I would try recovery, I would make these small compromises and go and see certain people that I knew I shouldn't be seeing, and then I'll end up getting high again. It never failed. It always happened. So when I started this journey here in 2015, I was intentional about not making those small compromises anymore. And so I didn't go to Minneapolis because Minneapolis was a stomping ground for me in terms of what I did as far as getting high, using drugs. It was certain people that make them bad people, but I knew that being around this certain group of people was a compromise for me. It would compromise my recovery. It would compromise my healing. And so I not only made sure from an intentional standpoint that I didn't go around them, I got all of their numbers out of my phone, and I even changed my phone number. So I didn't go to Minneapolis. I made sure that I changed my telephone number, and watch this. I'm almost 10 years into my healing journey right now. And I still won't carry cash money in my pocket. I still make it a practice to not carry cash in my pocket, because cash in my pocket or bankrolls in my pocket was synonymous to getting high. And so a small compromise for me to have money in my pocket from a cash standpoint is harmful. So I make sure that I stay away from that as well. And I'll give you an example of what happened for me. So earlier this year, we were in Disneyland. My cousin, his wife and their daughter had came into California. My wife and I, we all went to Disneyland together, and I had gotten a rental car in my name for my cousin. So my cousin paid me cash, right, for the rental car, and it was almost immediately I started getting anxiety when I put that money in my hand. It was almost immediately, and I had to get rid of it because, again, it felt like the times of old, and it felt like a compromise for me to have that money in my hand. And so I'm saying all that to say, what are some of the small compromises that you think? Now, again, it was just cash money. It was cash money. It was a good thing. I could have spent it on good. I was in Disneyland. But that small compromise or that money that I had could have caused me to be into some small compromises that would turn into a big old snowball. So my question is, what are some of the things that or the small compromises, right, that you think may be harmless, that if you keep on adding those things together, like I said, a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny, or an act with an act, or an act with an act, or a compromise with a compromise with a compromise with a compromise. What are some of those small things that you think is harmless that you're indulging in that needs to stop? Now, look, now watch this. We need to stop. If whatever it is that you're compromising, those small compromises, you don't need to wing yourself from them. You need to stop. Because again, those things are going to bring much harm. I'm going to give you another example or a story of mine about what small compromise can do for you. So back in 2001, my first grandchild was born. I was living in Milwaukee. My daughter and my grandson was living in Minneapolis. And so we had made arrangements for her to come to Milwaukee so that I could get to meet my grandson for the first time. Wonderful, wonderful thing. The intentions around it were good. The love, everything was there, right? And so anyway, I was working. And at that time, I was actually working on building a life of recovery as well, right? So, in other words, I was getting away from the lifestyle of getting high because, again, I just had a grandson. So anyway, we made arrangements because, again, like I said, I was at work. I had to work that day. So I had asked my brother to go and pick up my daughter and my grandson up from the bus station. And, I was supposed to get off work, meet them at home, the whole 9 yards. So I'm talking about small compromises. So when I got off work, it was Friday, payday. I just got paid. And in my mind, it's not going to harm me. This is what my mind was saying. It's not going to harm me. Let me go and grab me one. Again, my drug of choice was heroin. I snorted heroin for 30 years. Being butt naked honest, right? So let me go and just grab me one, go home as a celebration of I have been working on trying to live a life of recovery. I'm about to get to meet my grandson for the first time. I'm gonna see my daughter who I haven't seen in a few years, so forth and so on. So this is this small compromise was a means of celebration, in other words. So anyway, I go and I get the bag of heroin, right? I snort the bag of heroin because now in our small compromises, whatever that thing that we are about to do, we're looking for something in it, whether it's a physical effect, a spiritual effect, a mental effect. We're looking for some type of effect or feeling in this small or so-called harmless compromise. So I go and get the bag, I snort the bag, and it doesn't do what I thought in my mind or I had planned and set up in my mind that it was supposed to do. Y'all got to stay with me with this because, again, that's some of the things that happens to us in these small compromises. They're harmless and we try them and they don't do what we thought that they was going to do. So what did I do? Because that one didn't do what I thought it was going to do. Well, let me go over here. They dope may be better and try it again. So I'll go over to another area, get me two. Snort both of those, didn't get the effect, right? That my mind had set itself up to believe that I was going to get from the small compromise, which I thought was harmless. Because at the reality, because at the end of the day, I still had my whole paycheck in my pocket minus the $30 because they were $10 bags at the time. Again, being fully transparent, I still had my entire paycheck minus the $30 that I had just spent, compromised and wasted on something that I didn't even need to be doing. The small compromises, again, is something that's they carry a lot of weight because they end up harming us a whole lot more in the long term. Again, let me stay with me. Stay with me. Let me finish it. So again, that didn't get me the effect that I wanted. So now I go with somebody's house that I know who is a consumer who usually knows where the good stuff at. So I go over there and find, get the person. They take me to the so-called good stuff. That didn't work either. So now I spend some more money, and I continue to spend money in trying to find that feeling or euphoria that I was looking for, and it never happened. And what ended up happening as a result of this small compromise, stay with me, y'all, watch this. I never went home. This was Friday. I didn't make it home till Monday morning. Yup, y'all heard it right. Because of that small compromise, which I thought was harmless, wouldn't harm me, I didn't make it home till Monday morning. And you don't even have to guess, I had spent all of my money. I didn't get to meet my grandson. I didn't see my daughter. The embarrassment and shame that was so powerful and strong and overwhelming on me that I wanted to kill myself. That was, again, being honest, and it was because of the small compromise. Thank God that we have moved past that. The forgiveness has happened. I've been in recovery almost 10 years now. My relationship with my daughter and my grandson is phenomenal. Yes, thank you so much, God, for healing, right? But I'm just giving you all an example of what we think as small compromises, how they will turn into these big things that can cause long-lasting, if not permanent, harm. Now, when we talk about again, the small compromises, but you compromising, let's talk about it from a physical standpoint as well, right? Because as many of us are getting up in age, fitness and wellness from a physical standpoint starts to be important to us, right? It starts to come up, hey, listen, I need to make sure that I take care of my health so that I can add some more years to my life, be around for my grandchildren, be around for my great-grandchildren, help some other people, whatever the case may be. And so it's popular now, right? And I'm grateful for it. It's popular now, nowadays, for people who has some seasoning in terms of age on them to be in the gyms, eat well, eat better, whole 9 yards. And in that process, or in that, many of us have what we call a cheat day, small compromise. And let me say this. Many of us need to get the cheat day out of it, because what happens is, and I'm guilty of it, and maybe you can relate to it. What happens a lot is we'll indulge in our cheat day in all kind of unhealthy eating, whatever it is that you're eating that's unhealthy. We'll indulge in that. And I get up early in the morning to go to the gym. I'm at the gym. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm on the floor at the gym by 4. And so if my cheat days, right, or my small compromising days, what happens is I'll eat too much. And so when I wake up in the morning, time for the gym, my body is lazy or heavy from all of the unhealthy foods that I've eaten the night before or the day before. And the first thing that my mind and my body tell me, oh, just go back to sleep. We can do it tomorrow. You've been doing good. And that is so counterproductive to what it is that I want for my life. Like I said, we want all of these healthy things in our lives. Again, our relationship with God, so forth and so on. All of these, we want all of these healthy things, but we're not consistent and intentional about doing the healthy things to be healthy. So my cheat days have in the past, not now, but have in the past caused me to, well, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And not only that, I'm putting off the days to go to the gym, I'm actually eating more unhealthy foods in the days that I don't go to the gym. So in the drug world, they call that hustling backwards. And that's one of the, and what I mean by that is that because I'm doing this, I'm not even progressing in my wellness and in my fitness. The days that I did go to the gym, by the time I get to the gym, I'm making up rather than progressing. That's what they call it. That's what they mean when they call it hustling backwards. That all you doing is making up rather than progressing because of all of the compromises or all of the money that you are continuing to blow. And that has to stop. We have to stop making these small compromises or these big compromises, whatever you want to call it. We have to stop doing all these things if we want our lives to be better. They say it like this. They said, when you do what you gotta do or what you need to do, then sometimes you can do what you want to do. And we, because of the small compromises that we give into, we do what we want to do and end up not doing what we need to do. And then wonder why, when we look in the mirror, by the time we look up, our bank account has diminished, our relationship with God has started to dissipate, our fitness, or I remember looking in the mirror and I it was like it was a tire around my stomach, and I've never had that much weight on me. In all of my wellness days, I've never had that much weight on me. And I looked by the time I looked in the mirror, because of the small compromises, I was like, I was appalled. But I couldn't be mad at myself because of the fact that I continued to give into the small compromises or the harmless. Oh, it's not gonna hurt me. Just a day, just a little of this or a little of that or a little of the other. We can't do that. Now, are we supposed to be perfect? Absolutely not. There is going to be a time where, I'm a black man, right? When the holidays come around, watch this. Our culture cooks good. I love me some greens, sweet potato pie, peach cobbler, candy. Listen, macaroni and cheese. I love all of that. However, I can't make it a practice of eating that. If it's the holiday, let me eat it for the holiday, then I'm done. I can't put leftovers or take me an overnight plate, a plate home. All of that stuff can't be a practice in our lives if we are looking to progress, if we're looking to better the quality of our lives. But again, whether it's starting from our relationship with God, our relationship with ourselves, others, businesses, finances, you name it, we cannot make these small compromises, because again, those small compromises that we think are harmless is the ones that will continue to add. We'll add to those things, and then it becomes a big thing. So I want to ask everybody within the sound of my voice, everybody who's listening to this podcast, what are the small compromises that you're making that's causing you to be in a place where not only that you have drifted away, but that even if you are still trying to do that thing to move you forward, you always in makeup mode. You always in makeup position. What are those things or that thing that you are indulging in that needs to, again, this is not a situation that we have to wean ourselves from. We have to just stop. It's imperative. We have to just stop. I can't, well, I'm gonna eat a little, I'm not gonna eat a big bowl of peach cobbler today. I'm gonna eat a medium bowl. And break the helping down and break it, by day. We can't do that. We can't do that. We have whatever it is that we are indulging in that's a compromise to where it is that we want to go or where where we are headed in our lives. We have to stop it. And again, I just want to ask, what is it that you have going on in your life that you think is harmless, a small compromise, which is leading to this big ball of mess that's going to end up happening? Let us help one another stop, because I have done so much work to get myself to where I am now that I don't ever want to go back to the way that I looked when I looked in the mirror and realized that my weight was in the place that I was super unhealthy. A friend of mine told me, he said, brother, not only that you can see the difference, you're actually breathing better. It's not like you gasping for air. And that was an inspiration for me, even with my relationship with God. Because one of the, above all, let me put all this other stuff to the side. I remember years ago when my relationship with God has started to have distance with it, right? I remember it being, I was still living in Milwaukee at the time, right? And even in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I remember it being broad daylight, it being the middle of the summer, so we got 80 or 90 degree weather. Now, it's broad daylight outside. It's high noon. Sun is shining. It's beautiful outside. I always felt like it was dark. It always felt dark to me. Obviously, because I was getting high at the time, my weight, I was down to maybe 160 pounds. But it felt like I was about 3,000. So what am I saying? Because of those compromises, it had gotten dark and heavy for me. It had gotten dark, even though I was light, it felt heavy. And so I want to let you know that those small compromises, or those compromises that you're making that's contrary to where you say you want your life to be, they're definitely going to position you to be in a place where it's dark and it's heavy. So people, please stop making these small compromises. If you're not supposed to go over there, don't go. If you're not supposed to talk to them, don't talk to them. If you're not supposed to do this thing, don't do it. If you're not supposed to listen to this certain genre of music, don't listen to it. If you're not supposed to watch this certain thing on television, don't do it. If you're not supposed to be eating these foods, don't eat them, right? So forth and so on. You all get the picture of what I'm talking about. Because again, these small compromises, a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny with a penny, if you keep on adding them things up, you can get $10 million. It may take some time, but it'll get there. The same thing with us going backwards. If you keep on doing it, you'll find yourself in a backwards place and in a backwards position in your life. And in some cases, unfortunately, because of the small compromises, it costs people their lives. So we don't want to do that. Again, thank you all so much. I know y'all get the picture. Thank you so much, God, for this content for today. I love you all, and there's absolutely nothing that you all can do about it. Please If you're watching this podcast, subscribe to it, share, like, comment, post, repost. Please, let's spread this news and this message, because this world, the way that this world is today, again, forget the world, this country, your state, your city, your community. One of the reasons why it's the way it is today in terms of the dysfunction and mess is because of these small compromises. So let's stop compromising and get our butt to work. With that being said, as usual, y'all, if you're looking for a butt, it's going to always be easy to find one. That, my friends, is a promise. Until next time, y'all, God bless everybody. Be well and do the next right thing. This is Paul, your hip hop relationship and recovery coach, and I'm going to sign out.